Well, welcome everybody. What we're going to be doing today, we're going to be talking about continuing to learn. That's the biggest thing within pretty much any type of discipline is we definitely need to understand that, the value of knowledge is there. And in order to pretty much just kind of continue to develop yourself and develop your passion, you need to be willing to educate yourself through just a variety of different continuing education sources. So that's what we're going to go over today. We're going to provide, some recommendations for you, and we'll go forward into that and kind of talk a little bit about budgeting as well, and kind of what we recommend and what we utilize for that as well. So I'm Dane Bartz. I am the director here at Linked Fit, pretty much going over a lot of the day-to-day operations here, but then also a majority of the coaching and the programming as well. And I'll let Alex kind of take over from that.
Yeah, so I'm Alex, and I focus mainly on the wellness portion of our Linked Fit team here, whether that's getting you guys into a proper meal plan or getting recipes, just trying to make a nice, healthy habits for you and how we can expand on that for your overall wellness. So, kicking off our session here today, we want to talk about an investment in knowledge pays the best interest by Benjamin Franklin. But what does this actually mean though? Knowledge is what kind of separates us from the pack. We can use this to not only better ourselves, but better others. And we can take this wisdom and knowledge that we learn and continue to expand it and go as far as we want with it, really. So just for a minute, imagine all the knowledge in the world is in this one circle. And within this one circle, there's different disciplines or different fields of study. And those fields of study expand in all different realms, whether that's exercise science, chemistry, biology, physics, all sorts of things, art, sociology, engineering, anthropology, politics, zoology. The list really goes on and on and on. And these are just a few samples of those. And imagine all of this and more into this one circle. But when we break apart each of these little facets and these different fields of study, taking exercise science, for example, we can break this down even more. So taking exercise science, for example, we can break that down, whether that's biomechanics, athletic training, rehabilitation, physical therapy, strength training. There's so many different facets within exercise science that we can also continue to deepen our knowledge in. And this will kind of expand our growth of knowledge here. So moving forward, we have to look at where do we really start learning, or where do we get this first kind of exposure to knowledge? And it really starts when we get into school, and that's in elementary school. And elementary school is very fundamental. We start to learn the basics of life here. And this can kind of propel us towards our further steps going into our next phase here, high school. And as you can see, we're kind of diving into the circle a little bit more. We're expanding into the circle. And with high school, again, we're continuing to build off those fundamentals that we learned in our previous years. But high school is also a time where we can start to think about the future and think about where we want to take our knowledge. How do we want to expand the knowledge? And one of those ways is going to college, finding that higher education, getting a bachelor's degree. So as our circle is expanding here, we can see the kind of peach color here. And still, in your bachelor's degree, you're continuing that general education, just like you did through elementary school, through high school. You continue those general education courses because, one, they really help us understand life and how we can still grow as a human. But we can start to nitpick and find a niche where we want to study. And so the little bubble that pops out of that peach ring here, is our discipline. Now, for example, both Dane and I went to Oakland University for our undergraduate, and we decided to study health sciences. But within health sciences, we went a little bit further and decided a concentration in exercise science. So that's what that little bubble is representing. The little field, the little niche that we are expanding on and where we want to dive into our future a little bit more.
So moving on to pretty much graduate school, as Alex, alluded to, we were talking about specialties, and specialties are going to be the primary component of what we're going to be talking about, but mostly with exercise science, as that's the main foundation of what we built, Linked Fit on. So when you're getting a master's, you pretty much provide that specialty in a greater depth. You provide literature, you read a little bit more, you do more homework assignments that are all specifically tailored towards the exercise science discipline. So that's whether it's wellness, exercise training, programming, assessment protocols, cardiovascular diseases, and different types of altering mechanics that can obviously impact exercise physiology at the greatest extent. So when we're talking about that, we know that when we go into it, we only get to know so much. So what it really kind of goes into next is really diving into the reading and the research portion of it. It's a small component of it. You're not going to understand everything. That's a big thing that we definitely want to understand as any type of discipline, whether it is exercise science, whether it is history. There's so much that goes in depth with each one of those. But in exercise, there's so much. And we need to understand that we need to have a specialty in mind that we like to focus on. So here at Linked Fit, big thing that I love to focus on is the recovery and regeneration component. While Alex, on the other hand, she loves nutrition. So our bumps are going to be different. We exceed different levels because of what we're trying to grasp at a different level. And what we're trying to do is learn things at a different value because we perceive it to be more beneficial in what we're going towards. So the next thing is kind of that doctoral study. As you see, it's a little teeny bump in that circle. And Alex did a great job talking about just the foundational knowledge and how big that circle is. And just looking at the PhD value of it, it's a small little bent. Or a little dense. So what we really need to do is just understand that it's a small portion and we're always going to continue to learn. So it's like as a PhD studies, you really kind of grasp that one specific thing and you make that like a master. You master that. You become the doctoral student because of the fact that you're trying to evolve into your recovery, your nutrition, and really try to grasp that material. But, it doesn't stop there. It is continued efforts of reading and research and publications and all that so that you can stay on top of your game and understand things when it comes into the scientific background of things, because everything's evolving. Scientific research is always kind of bringing new levels and new understandings to the methodologies that we currently know today.
And just kind of like what Dane literally just mentioned is things evolve, things change. So we need to make sure we're staying up to date with the current trends or staying up to date with the current literature. And that's where continuing your education can come into play. And not only just continuing your education in your field, but maybe expanding in your particular field of study within that exercise science field. But some ways we can continue our education is, we've already talked about a little bit before, is college courses. Finding a degree in your study, maybe that is the athletic training side, maybe that's the physical therapy side or the biomechanics, kinesiology side. There's so many different disciplines that you can get a college degree in to get that higher education. Moving forward, we can do research on your own, look at publications. There's a numerous amount of publications out there now and resources for you to look up articles and peer-reviewed articles that will help support you in continuing your education. Next, get an internship, shadow somebody, shadow someone, or find that internship with the discipline that you're looking for. And if you're looking into strength and conditioning, if you are in a college setting, see if you can get in with your local sports teams. See if you can get into their strength and conditioning programs and help be like, hey, this is where I'm looking to go into. How can you teach me how to be better at this? Or how can I learn new skills to be more proactive or more efficient with it? Next, look for workshops, clinics. These can be local things. You can even travel to them, depending what is local to you. Get a job. Find a job in that setting as well, kind of going hand in hand with the internship, making sure you're just evolving yourself and diving into all of those different ways that you can expand that knowledge. Certifications. Depending on which route you're taking, there's many different certifications that can give you that higher education and continue your education. If you're more in the strength and conditioning, NSCA is a great one. If you like the corrective exercises, NASM's great, ACSM if you're looking for more clinical sides, nutrition certifications are out there. So find a discipline and a concentration and a certification that'll help you continue with that. Continue to go to conferences, going hand in hand with the workshops, maybe speaking, but not only going to these conferences, it'll help you network. And being able to network will allow you to meet new people and learn from them as well. That's super important, being able to learn from others. I wish we knew everything, but unfortunately we don't. So being able to have that network and being able to rely on other people to be like, hey, they've been there before, how did they do it? Or how can they help me expand my knowledge? And again, books, simply opening up a book, find your local library, and not only that local library, but find the books there, but find the research that they have there. They all have computers nowadays where we can look up and expand on those publications.
So moving into it, we wanted to provide a fact that it's amazing, you know, just to see that there is roughly about 130 million published books in the world today. And you know, that doesn't even account for the non-published books, you know, people that are doing it just, you know, by self-publications and all that. So it's just amazing, you know, the fact that, you know, when we think about just variety of sections and book topics and all that, it's amazing to see that. And, you know, there's a lot of professionals and scholars out there and authors that are writing their methodology and what they really believe in, because when they analyze the research, they're interpreting it at a different type of rationale than everyone else is, because everyone has different personalities, everyone has different thought processes that are going to obviously be able to predict thinking on a different level. So moving into the next one, we really wanted to talk about, you know, the big culture today of what we really see is we talk about social media, and, you know, it's a great tool, but, you know, when we're talking about it, you know, there's great content out there. Don't get me wrong. You know, there's professionals that are doing amazing things that have a great amount of followers and everything, but we definitely need to understand that just because they have a whole bunch of followers does not necessarily mean that they have taken the highest route to understand the education. They're not certified, they're not licensed, they're not academically educated. You know, they may have experience of just doing the things that they're doing, but when they explain it, they don't necessarily have that educational background to interpret the application or the scientific background of it. So we just really wanted to bring that up, and we're going to keep it short and simple when we get to that point, but just make sure that when you are following individuals, you know, understand their background, you know, ask them, you know, what is your academics? You know, what are your degrees in? Do you have certifications? Are you keeping up with your certifications? Which we'll touch up on that here in a little bit.
So when looking to do these continuing education, it does cost money sometimes. So make sure you establish an organized plan that is going to be feasible for your income. Staying organized, have a plan of action, and find something, like I said, that is going to be fitting for you. So a good rule of thumb is to take 5 to 10% of your income and put it towards your education. Kind of going back to what I said in the very beginning, knowledge is kind of like power. It can take you as far as you need to go or as far as you want to go. So being able to budget yourself appropriately to make sure you are getting that education is super important. But you don't have to go break the bank to get this higher education. There's a million different opportunities that come free. Whether that is just reading through publications, reading books, networking, those things don't cost money. And you can still continue to learn from those. So make sure you do find those free opportunities so you're not always spending so much money on, I have to do this, I have to go to this, I have to go to this. Yes, those are great to do, but make sure you spread them out. That way you don't break the bank going forward. But what's nice about this education, talking about just budgeting and kind of banking here, it can help you increase that income. You know, if you can prove yourself and show that, hey, I have taken so much time, money, and effort and put into myself, you can bring that to others, and others will come to you for that knowledge and for that expertise. So make sure you are continuing that, because that can only help you grow in your field with your clientele as well.
So moving forward, you know, I talked about it when we were at the book section. You know, when you are a certified strength and conditioning specialist, a certified personal trainer, a health coach, whatever we want to call ourselves, because obviously there's a variety of different certifications and license out there. But the reason why I said certified, does your certification require reported CEUs? Very likely, yes, it does. So, you know, when we're talking about the NSCA, the CSCS, the certified personal trainer, it's going to be the value of reporting your CEUs every 3 years, but you have to have 6 credit hours basically, or CEUs, continuing education units, 6 of those to basically make sure that you can call yourself a certified personal trainer or a certified strength and conditioning specialist again beyond that 3 years. So it's very important to, you know, stay on top of that, because a lot of your certifications within the field require you to do that. So, you know, just make sure that when you are doing it, understand the value of that, understand the policies and the procedures that you need to know moving forward, so that you know when you need to recertify, how much it's going to be, how many CEUs that you're going to have, and each one of your courses that you're going to be doing, your self-study workshops, your clinics, your conferences, all have different hours. They have different units that are going to be approved for that. So make sure that you understand each one of those, so that you can stay on top of your game and make sure that you're recertified when it comes up to that point. So the big takeaway that we really want everyone to understand is, you know, continue to enhance your practice. You know, science is always changing. And when science changes, our methodologies are definitely going to be different from what we thought they were going to be 5 years ago and 10 years ago. So continue to enhance it. Continue to make sure that when you're making a benefit for your knowledge and your sake of just learning, it's not necessarily just going to benefit you as your clients as well. It's going to benefit your clients, so that you can now bring a higher level of just programming and methodology, so that you're going to make sure that they're going to be recovered well, they're getting their strength, they're losing their weight. All these different types of benefits to our field of health and wellness are going to be acceptable. They're going to be superior, because you are getting the most educated format because of all the continuing education out there that you're taking in. So we appreciate everyone watching. If you guys ever have questions, feel free to call us, email us, add us on LinkedIn, or not LinkedIn, but actually we are on LinkedIn, but on Facebook and Instagram as well. So take it easy. We hope everyone has a great day and a great night.
See ya.
Bye.